Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 49th episode of Don't Forget the Popcorn. Not going to waste too much of your time. We're back with the Everything I Watched. This month is obviously for July, so we're just going to get into it. I did get my normal round of films in. We're going to jump into it because I kind of got a lot to go over for you guys. So, this is Everything I Watched in July. Pretty Woman, 1990, directed by Gary Marshall. I mean, this is a film most people have seen. Anyone between, I don't know, anyone from 27 and up has probably seen this movie. I've seen it as well. It's just been quite some time, and I just wanted to rewatch it because I've been hearing a lot about it lately. It's a decent film. It's not bad. I love Julia Roberts. She's one of my favorites. She's actually one of my all-time favorites. Richard Gere is great. Everyone knows the story, about the prostitute who meets the rich guy and they fall in love, yada yada yada. It's Pretty Woman. We all know about it. I'm gonna give Pretty Woman a 7 out of 10. The Conversation, 1974, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. Now, I went into this movie so excited. Gene Hackman, Francis Ford. What can go wrong? I was going into this movie with high hopes. I expected to absolutely love it, probably give it something like an 8, 9 out of 10. And I was very let down. This film has been acclaimed throughout the years. It got a lot of praise. It still gets praise. I hear people talking about this movie all the time and how amazing it is. I think my issue with this movie was that I just don't really like this movie reminded me of Blowout from um Brian De Palma, and it reminded me of the British one, Blow Up. All three of those movies, they all are kind of similar. There's somebody who's into some form of technology and they end up discovering something that they probably shouldn't have while doing some kind of a job. And that's the same thing with a conversation. You got a guy who gets paid to listen to record conversations. He ends up hearing something in a conversation that he probably shouldn't have, and it starts to play with his mind. Now the film, it's not a bad movie. It's just it paces extremely slow. It's and all three of these films, they all pace kind of slow, and I did think the ending of the conversation was pretty good. The third act was pretty good. It was definitely the most entertaining part of the film. But overall, man, it just wasn't something I wasn't that thrilled on as I was getting into the film. But it's not a terrible movie. But I mean, if you're into films like that, I'd recommend it. But I don't know. Just wasn't for me. So, but I still understand why it is loved. So I'm gonna give it its respect. So I'm gonna give the conversation a 6 out of 10. Jason and the Argonauts, 1963, directed by Don Chaffee. Okay, so this film was recommended to me by a couple of guys that have been talking about it nonstop, and they're like, "It's so good, it's so good, it's so good." And I was like, "We'll see. It'll probably be okay." I liked it. I thought it was actually very fun. For the time period, it looks incredible. It's a fun adventure film, about a guy who's trying to essentially find something, and it's just a fun adventure. It's just a fun adventure. It's got some cool action. I would highly recommend this. The stop motion in this movie for 1963 is absolutely incredible. I was very impressed with the visual effects I was seeing for the time. It's groundbreaking. If you don't watch it for any reason, watch it for that one alone. So I would give Jason and the Argonauts a 7.3 out of 10. Come and See, 1985, directed by Elam Kilmov. What a movie. What a movie. I watched this on the Criterion channel and it looks incredible. It looks, oh my lord, it looks so good. And the movie is just as good as it looks. I I gotta say, this maybe the best war movie ever made. Maybe. I'm still very much a big Deer Hunter fan, but I gotta say, this film blew me out of my clothes, off the couch, everything. This film, it's a World War II film set in Russia, and it's about Germany essentially invading this area of Russia and what happens when these rebels try and rise up against them. And my God, uh, this film takes you on a journey emotionally. Uh, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and there's a couple parts in here that did put tears in my eyes. I think everyone on this planet should watch this movie at least once. At least one time, I would say you should watch this movie. I would recommend this if you're a history buff, a war film fan. Absolutely, if you have not seen this, you must see this before you die. I think I have to give Come and See. I mean, how do you not give this a 10 out of 10? It's kind of hard not to, but I'm gonna not be insane. I'm gonna give Come and See a 9.2 out of 10. The Place Promised in Our Early Days, 2007, directed by Makoto Shinkai. Anyone who's been watching these videos I've been making on everything I watch, I do watch a handful of anime movies every month. And Makoto Shinkai, I've been watching a ton of this dude's films. I think he's a great director. I like his animation style. But I will say, a lot of his stories do follow the same beats. He changes it up a little bit, but a lot of them do follow the same beats. The Place Promised in Our Early Days. It's about these two friends who befriend this girl, and they end up they want to go to this place, this kind of mythical place that has this beam shooting out it from the sky, and it's a little bit messy of a film, I won't lie. There's kind of a lot going on, but the main goal is they want to go to this place. It's okay. He's made much, much better films. I mean, it is 2007, and he has grown tremendously as a filmmaker since then. So, I won't hold this against him. But I will say it's definitely one of the weaker films from him I watched. I was not very impressed. I honestly, if you're an anime fan, if you're a J-drama fan, check it out. But other than that, I wouldn't recommend it. I'm going to give The Place Promised in Our Early Days a 5.5 out of 10. Francis Ha, 2012, directed by Noah Baumbach. This film stars the director of Barbie, the movie everyone's been talking about lately. I absolutely love this movie. It's a mumblecore film. Noah Baumbach, Noah Baumbach and Greta Gerwig. They've been in a relationship for a few years now. They write a lot together. They've worked a lot together. These guys are great together, and this probably is one of their better collabs. This film was about a late 20s young lady who's a dancer living in New York City, and she is just trying to figure out this adult thing between her career, relationships, friends, things like that. And I honestly just had a really good time rolling around New York with Greta Gerwig. I love her in this. I like her as a writer, director, and I really enjoyed this film quite a bit. So I'm not gonna try and overscore it, so I'm gonna get in a clear head. But I would recommend this to anyone who just likes a good dramedy. I'm gonna give Francis Ha a 7.9 out of 10. Lean on Me, 1989, directed by John G. Avildsen. Lean on Me, classic Morgan Freeman film, where he plays a principal of a really effed up school that really is just absolutely horrible. I don't know why anyone would even set foot in this place. But he turns the school around, and it's a story we've seen plenty of times. But I mean, this is the '80s. This is '89, one of the earlier adaptations we had. But it follows the same beats of like a Stand and Deliver, a movie like that. It's a good film. It's a good watch. I enjoyed it. It's a good time. Morgan Freeman gives a great performance. Hey, if you like a good, good family drama, a good family comedy drama, there's some funny parts in here. Definitely recommend this to you. I'm gonna give Lean on Me a 6.7 out of 10. Foxy Brown, 1974, directed by Jack Hill. Now, also been on my kick of black exploitation films. I've been watching a bunch of them, and this is another good one to add to the list, man. Another Pam Grier Jack Hill collaboration. Excuse me, I just cannot talk today. Great film. Pam Grier is essentially trying to avenge her or not her ex-boyfriend, but her boyfriend who gets caught up in some stuff, and she's got some issues with her brother. But another crazy action movie where she's going super hard. She kind of has to go undercover again and pretend to be something she's not. I had a lot of fun with it, man. Pam Grier is absolutely awesome. I'm gonna recommend this. If you like black exploitation films, definitely check this out. If you like action movies, check this out. I'm gonna give Foxy Brown a 7.2 out of 10. The Mighty Ducks, 1992, directed by Stephen Herrick. It's the Mighty Ducks, man. I don't really think I need to tell you what it's about. It's about the young hockey team. Emilio Estevez coaches them. It's the Mighty Ducks. If you've seen the Mighty Ducks, you've seen it. Now, I've seen the Mighty Ducks before. It's just been a long, long, long time. So I kind of wanted to rewatch them. It's okay. It's decent. I think I like the second one more, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But it's a fun kids movie. It's not one of the best ones. There's definitely way better live action Disney movies from the early '90s. Definitely better live action sports movies from the '90s. The Sandlot is 20 times better than this, but Mighty Ducks is alright. I would recommend this to '90s fans, nostalgic people. If you're in your late 20s, early 30s now, this maybe recommend this to you if you haven't seen it. I'll give the Mighty Ducks a 5.3 out of 10. Mother, 2009, directed by Bong Joon-ho. Now, this movie is about a woman who has a son who is he's special needs, and he ends up getting accused of a murder, and she's out to prove his innocence. That's all I'm going to tell you about this film, because I would highly, highly, highly recommend this film. It's Bong Joon-ho, man. This film is awesome. This film is really, really good. I'm upset I didn't see it sooner. As soon as I watched it, went and got it on Blu-ray. I absolutely loved it, and the end blew my mind. I would recommend this pretty much to anyone, man. It's just a great film, great Korean film. I'm gonna give Mother an 8 out of 10. Battle Royale, 2000, directed by Kenji Fakasaku. Yo, this movie is nuts. I've been hearing about this movie a lot lately in the movie space. I know it's one of Tarantino's favorite films, and I know he took a lot of inspiration from it, mainly in Kill Bill. The character, the young Asian girl with the schoolgirl outfit, she has the ball with the spikes coming out of it. She's in this movie, and that character was pretty much inspired by this movie. And I'm here to tell you, man, this movie is freaking awesome. It's insane. It's just a pedal to the metal, bang 'em up time, just insane fun. This movie feels like it this movie, if you've never taken drugs, this movie probably makes you feel like you're on drugs, because it's just like this movie just feels like you just had a line put up in your nose, man. It's just like a punch you in the face, insane ride, fun time. If you're an action movie fan, absolutely would recommend this. I adored this movie. I loved it. I loved it. I'm gonna give Battle Royale a 8 out of 10. Hachi, A Dog's Tale, 2009, directed by Lassie Hallstrom. Okay, this movie is about. It's actually based on a true story. This movie is about a dog who ends up getting an owner that they just have an incredible relationship, and I don't really want to spoil this movie. I'll just say this. If you're a dog lover, check this movie out. It's gonna hit your emotions. It's gonna tug on your heartstrings. But Richard Gere is the lead, plays a great performance, and this dog in this movie is awesome. Hachi is awesome. I did enjoy this film. It's not typically my kind of movie, but I did have a good time with it. So if you want a good emotional movie, if you're an animal lover, definitely check this out. I'm gonna give Hachi a Dog's Tale a 7.4 out of 10. Girl Fight 2000, directed by Karen Kusama. This is, I think, Michelle Rodriguez's first movie, and this movie was good, man. Michelle Rodriguez plays a troubled teen high school girl who gets into boxing, and she ends up, finding love in more ways than one throughout this film, and dealing with a lot of the things she has going on in her life, all while learning this sport and trying to hone in on this craft. And it's just a good sports drama. It's a good underground sports drama most people probably haven't seen. I actually had a really great time with this movie. I thought it was pretty good. If you're a sports drama fan, absolutely recommend. I mean, honestly, this is a movie I think anyone could watch and have a good time with. So I'm gonna give Girl Fight a 7.2 out of 10. Hamilton 2020, directed by Thomas Kail. All right. Now, I'm not the biggest musical guy. I'm not. I appreciate some musicals. There are some musicals I like. There's actually some musicals I love. There are some good musicals out there, but typically it's not what I gravitate to. When I watch a musical, it's got to be one that's been buzzing a little bit that people have talked about. And I have a friend who's been really, really pushing Hamilton on me, and they're like, "Watch it, you watch it, you're gonna like it, you're gonna like it, you're gonna like it." And I'm like, "Okay." And then I'm like, "It's about rapping founding fathers." I'm like, "I don't know, man. It just seems odd. It just seemed like an odd concept." But god damn it, man, they made this thing work. The guy who wrote the music for this, I think he wrote the music for Moana too. Extremely talented. The raps in here, they were pretty cool. I gotta say, I did learn a lot watching this movie. A lot of stuff I didn't know about Hamilton. I thought I knew pretty much everything about him, but I didn't. I learned some new stuff, and it was presented in a cool way. And if you can't appreciate anything about this movie, you have to appreciate the talent these actors have. My God, they were asked to do a lot, singing, dancing, rapping. And the whole thing is all music. There's no like spoken dialogue. It's all lyrics. And it's insane how well it flows. And it's a long boy. It's almost 3 hours, but it flew by, man. I had a great time with it. I can't lie. I did have fun with it. So with that said, if you're a musical fan, absolutely recommend this. If you're a music fan, I would recommend this just because you would appreciate the talent on display here. So I'm going to give Hamilton a 7.7 out of 10. Liz and the Bluebird, 2018, directed by Naoko Yamada. Liz and the Bluebird is a fun film about two girls who are in an orchestra, and their lives kind of coincide with this children's book that they're both familiar with. And it's just a J drama about these two girls growing up, and they kind of understand they're connected in a way, yet they are both kind of fighting it too. It's weird. It's something you have to kind of watch to understand. It's a little bit hard for me to explain it to you without giving the entire thing away. But I actually really like this film. I thought this was a great film. It's an anime film. Sorry, I meant to mention that before. You can probably tell by the images. This was a fun watch. But then again, I like J dramas. I like anime films. So for me, it was something I like. I couldn't recommend it to everybody, but if you like J dramas, anime, I definitely recommend it. It was fun. I will give Liz and the Bluebird a 7.5 out of 10. What Dreams May Come, 1998, directed by Richard Matheson. Another film that was recommended to me. I was told that I would really like this film and think it was very interesting and things like that. And I watched it and I will say I didn't feel those things, but I did have a good time with this movie. I didn't love it. I didn't love it. But I definitely appreciated the ambitions with it. I thought the art style in it was really cool, especially for 98. It was something different. I enjoyed that. And the concept was interesting as well. I did not appreciate the ending. I thought the ending could have been I think the ending was a little too cliche. I think they should have took a bigger risk with the ending. It's such a 90s ending. But you got Robin Williams here and he's giving a great performance. Cuba Gooding Jr. is giving a good performance. It's not a bad film. I would recommend it if you like a nice emotional drama, relationship drama. I would definitely check this out, but I couldn't say it's for everyone. But I will give What Dreams May Come a 6.7 out of 10. Cure, 1997, directed by Kiyoshi Kurosawa. Wow, man, what a movie. This is probably one of the top of the month. Cure is a psychological horror film about a detective trying to catch a killer. Um, but this killer is hypnotizing people into doing crimes, and that's all I'm gonna say. Because if you get a chance to watch this movie, I will watch this movie. I don't care who you are. It's awesome. Japanese film. Oh my god, I was blown away. I loved it so much. I was glued. I was glued to it. And when it in the end, I was like, yes, the ending is so satisfying. I had a great time with this film. I absolutely adored it when it captured on Criterion. So I'm going to give Cure at 8.3 out of 10. Cool Runnings, 1993, directed by John Turteltaub. Cool Runnings, man, classic early 90s sports fun movie, Disney film. Guys, it's Cool Runnings. It's a fun movie. It's very entertaining. Jamaican bobsled team. Enough said. John Candy's the coach. Enough said. I like this film. I've seen it before. It's been a long time, but I definitely wanted to revisit it because I've been hearing about it, and I was like, man, I haven't seen that forever. I was like, I want to watch Cool Running, so I watched it. It still holds up just like it did, when I saw it probably 15 plus years ago. So I liked it. If you're into sports comedies, definitely check it out. I will give Cool Runnings a 7 out of 10. Girl Interrupted, 1999, directed by James Mangold. Man, this movie is great. And I had seen this movie when it came out. I think I saw it in 99 or 2000. And, I hadn't seen it since. And I didn't remember a lot from it. But I do remember that Angelina gave a great performance. And I was like, I wanted to check that out. Man, this movie still holds up. I know a lot of critics didn't like it. I don't care. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was a great film. I thought Winona Ryder gave a great performance. I thought Angelina gave a stellar performance, well worth the Oscar. I thought Brittany Murphy gave a great performance in this. Rest in peace. She was, oh man, I miss Brittany Murphy. I loved her. She was so great. The performances are what make this film, but it's a cool story. It's a cool story about these ladies who are locked in a mental institution and they become friends, and Winona has a lot to learn about herself and why it is that she is crazy, even though, she's denying it for a lot of the time. It's a fun ride, man. It's a fun ride. And I had a lot of fun with this film. I honestly recommend this to anyone. So I'm going to give Girl Interrupted a 7.7 out of 10. Con Air, 1997, directed by Simon West. Man, I just love Nicolas Cage, and I hadn't seen Con Air since probably 97. So I wanted to revisit it and I wanted to check it out and see how it holds up. And man, it holds up, but it doesn't hold up. And it's the story is kind of silly. It's literally Con Air. The title tells you all. It's about a bunch of convicts who end up taking over an airplane that's meant to transport prisoners, and it's an insane ride. You got one thing, if you don't take anything away from this film, you take away how amazing John Malkovich is in this film. He's so good in this movie. Nicolas Cage's southern accent is awful. Dave Chappelle's funny. Vin Rames is good. But man, if you like 90s action films, I recommend this. But if you do not, I could not recommend this to you. I'm gonna give Con Air a 6.1 out of 10. Tommy Boy, 1995, directed by Peter Segal. I've seen Tommy Boy before. It's been a little bit, probably 10 years, but I was like, man, I'm gonna watch Tommy Boy. I want to watch something funny. Listen, man, if you grew up with Tommy Boy, you'll like Tommy Boy, but somebody watching Tommy Boy now for the first time in 2023, unless you're a bit older, I don't know if you'd like it. Um, if you're a 90s comedy fan, David Spade, Chris Farley, or SNL type of fan, I could recommend this to you, but I don't know if I'd recommend this to anyone who's born after 95. But I'm going to give Tommy Boy a 6 out of 10. 101 Dalmatians, 1961, directed by a whole bunch of people. The original 101 Dalmatians, guys, believe it or not, I had never seen this. And I'm a big Disney fan, and it's kind of insane, but I had never seen this, and I loved it. I thought it was great. I've seen all the newer adaptations of the Dalmatians movies, so it's not like I don't know what this is about. I knew what it was about. I pretty much knew the story, but everyone knows what 101 Dalmatians is about. Cruella de Vil, absolutely amazing. I love her. One of my favorite villains. She's a sick freak, but I just love her. I just love her swag, her style, her look. She's just so cool to me. I don't know. I always admired her. But hey, if you're a Disney fan, of course I recommend 101 Dalmatians. It's a great film. I'm going to give 101 Dalmatians 1961 a 7.9 out of 10. Lady Vengeance, 2005, directed by Park Chan-wook. Okay, man, one of my favorite South Korean directors. He is absolutely amazing, just like this movie. It's part of the Vengeance trilogy, so if you've seen Old Boy, it falls with the other two movies. Uh, Lady Vengeance was good, man. And unpopular or hot take, not unpopular opinion. Hot take, hot take. I might like this movie more than Old Boy. I might. I don't know. But I like this movie. I had a really good time with it. I really like the lead actress. She was great. I would recommend this to anyone, honestly. You got to read it, but it's great. I'm gonna give Lady Vengeance. This may seem high, but I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Winchester, 73, 1950, directed by Anthony Mann. My boy Jimmy Stewart, man, in an old Western. This movie's about a gun. This movie's about two guys who compete in a contest to win this cherished Winchester 73 gun, and everybody wants this gun. Everybody wants this gun. And it's just a crazy tale about a bunch of people trying to get this gun. And it's so good. I actually enjoyed this a lot. And this possibly is one of the best Westerns ever made. It really was quite enjoyable. If you're a Western fan, absolutely I would recommend this. I'm going to give Winchester 73 an 8.2 out of 10. White Noise, 2022, directed by Noah Baumbach. Now, I spoke of Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach earlier. It's another collaboration with them, but Adam Driver's the star of this show. This was a Netflix movie. It came out. It got horrible reviews. People were dogging it. But I checked it out, and I think it's better than people made it out to be, but it's not great. The plot's a little silly, but I did like a lot of the performances in it. But the story is weird. I was not honestly, it's kind of even hard to say what this movie's about. I mean, the movie kind of makes you think it's about one thing, and then it's really not. At the end of the day, this movie is about a guy kind of trying to save his relationship, but that's not how the movie's presented at all. It's strange. The writing for it's a little weird. I don't know. I don't really think I could recommend this to you. I'm not gonna recommend this to anyone. It was weird. I'm gonna give White Noise a 5.3 out of 10. Wild Things, 1999, directed by John McNaughton. Now, I've seen this movie quite a few times. Me and my uncle used to watch it back in the day, and he loved it. I was, he was late teens. I was, young, single digit age, and you can probably guess why he liked it if you've seen the movie. Somebody 16, 17, 18-year olds watching this movie. Denise Richards, Matt Dillon, and Neve Campbell. They're all great in this film, but Bill Murray, that's the guy. I love this movie, man. It's a classic from my childhood, so I would recommend this honestly to anybody. It's an entertaining watch. It moves at a good pace too, and there's tons of twists in it. There's more twists in this movie than maybe any movie ever made. I'm gonna give Wild Things a 7.1 out of 10. The Hate You Give, 2018, directed by George Tillman Jr. Now, I checked this movie out while I was doing research for my best high school movies ever made. And this movie was very good. A powerful high school film. It's a racial film, and it's about a young black girl who she goes to a prep school with all white kids, and but she still lives in the hood. So she's kind of caught in between one side of the world and the other, and it's kind of hard. It's getting harder for her to decipher, what direction she kind of wants to go in life. But an event happens to her that kind of changes everything, and it makes her look at everything and everyone much differently. This was a really good film. It's based off of a novel, and I thought this was definitely probably one of the better releases of 2018. I'm a little upset I didn't see it then, but I would recommend this movie to anyone. It's a hard-hitting drama. I'm gonna give The Hate You Give a 7.9 out of 10. Ice Age 3, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, 2009, directed by Carlos Saldanha. This is a funny movie, great kids film. I still like Ice Age 1 the best, but I did enjoy this one more than Ice Age 2, I'll say that. Uh, it's a funny film, it's Ice Age, it's about the dawn of the dinosaurs, and it's pretty straightforward. If you're a kids movie fan, if you're an Ice Age fan, yes, I would recommend this. Your kids would like it if you have children. I'm gonna give Ice Age: Dawn of the Dinosaurs a 6.4 out of 10. End of Watch, 2012, directed by David Ayer. End of Watch was insane. It's about two cops, and it's really just honestly a few days in the life of these two cops. Actually, it's more than that. This movie's got to take place over the span of it's got to be at least 6. Yeah, it's got to be a few months, a good few months actually. Jake Gyllenhaal, Michael Pena give two outstanding performances. I would highly recommend this movie to anyone, especially if you're into cop dramas. I'm gonna give End of Watch an 8 out of 10. Mrs. Doubtfire, 1993, directed by Chris Columbus. We all know Chris Columbus, Home Alone, he's directed some really good stuff. This is a good film, man. I've seen this before, of course. It's been a long time, but I mean, it's Robin Williams, he's going through a divorce and he ends up dressing like a woman to nanny his kids so he can spend time with them. And, it's a good family comedy, it's fun for the family. I recommend it for you to watch with your family. You guys have a good time. I'm gonna give Mrs. Doubtfire 6.9 out of 10. Cats Don't Dance, 1997, directed by Mark Dindal. Animated film. This film's cool. It's about a bunch of cats who are in Hollywood trying to make their way, kind of in the early days of Hollywood, and it's them trying to go through and get their name known. And it's a pretty cool film. It's actually, I mean, I saw it before. I saw it as a kid. It's been quite some time since I saw it, but I had a good time with it. I liked it. If you're a kids movie fan, I would absolutely recommend this. I'm gonna give Cats Don't Dance a 6.6 out of 10. Police Story 1985, directed by Jackie Chan. This movie is awesome. It's probably one of the best action comedies ever made. After I went on my Lethal Weapon kick the last couple months, I was fiending for something to kind of fill that void, and I think I found a series to do so. Police Story was awesome. Jackie Chan's direction, the action, the comedy, everything works so well. It's amazing, man. Definitely one of the best films coming out of Hong Kong. I will recommend this movie to anyone, especially if you're an action comedy fan. It's hilarious and the action is freaking slick. It's so good, man. My man Jackie Chan going crazy in this. I'm gonna give Police Story an 8.3 out of 10. The Nice Guys, 2016, directed by Shane Black. Now, I have had this movie on Blu-ray since it came out. And for whatever reason, I'm just now watching it for the first time. And I'm like so upset with myself because this movie is awesome. Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling are hilarious. If you like Shane Black, he's a great writer. He writes some great satire, some great dark comedies. This is another one. This movie is funny. It's got some cool action in it. It's got the total 70s vibe. It's awesome, man. It's great. I had a great time with it. Would highly recommend it. If you like dark comedies, I can't say everyone would like this movie. If you like dark comedies, you'll definitely appreciate this. I'm going to give The Nice Guys an 8.1 out of 10. Nightcrawler, 2014, directed by Dan Gilroy. Now, I had saw this movie when it came out, but I don't know, man. I feel like it's one of the movies I just kind of blacked out when I watched it because I didn't remember a ton from it. Gosh darn it, I'm really upset with myself because this movie is freaking awesome, man. This is one of my favorite Jake Gyllenhaal performances. I adored this movie from start to finish. I loved it. I thought it was cool, the noir style. It's about a guy who he ends up becoming a night crawler, someone who films news stories and goes through the night and checking police scanners and selling their work to these stations. And Jake Gyllenhaal he becomes unhinged and goes nuts. But it's actually a really cool rags to riches story, and it's a character study on this guy, and I couldn't recommend it enough. I couldn't recommend it enough. I absolutely loved it. It's probably one of my favorite watches of the month. I'm gonna give Nightcrawler an 8.5 out of 10. Police Story 2, 1988, directed by Jackie Chan. Okay. You guys remember how a couple minutes ago I was just saying how awesome Police Story is? Okay, this movie's even better. I loved this one. Police Story 2, some of the best action ever. The fight in the park, bro, I've watched that like 5-6 times since I've watched this movie. Absolutely amazing, a great continuation of the story. Funny as hell. I couldn't recommend it more. I couldn't recommend the Police Story as a series more. I'm gonna give Police Story 2. I'm gonna also give that an 8.5 out of 10. It was amazing. Idiocracy, 2006, directed by Mike Judge. Okay, now this movie isn't that good, but what makes this movie good is how relevant it is to today's society. There's so much. If you watch this movie now, you'll be like, oh my Lord, he was trying to tell us something. This movie is a great representation of the current state of the world. And it's getting close to 20 years old, and yet it couldn't be more accurate. So I think everyone should watch Idiocracy, even though my score for it isn't going to be that great. I'm going to give Idiocracy a 6.3 out of 10. Oppenheimer, 2023, directed by Christopher Nolan. Now I have a whole review for this movie. I can put it up. Matter of fact, I will link it below. We all know what Oppenheimer's about. It's one of the best movies of the year. It's it's incredible. I loved it. It's one of the hardest hitting dramas I've watched in a while, and I really, 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 really liked it. I would recommend this movie to absolutely anyone. I'm gonna give Oppenheimer a 9 out of 10, guys. All right, that's what I gave it in my review, so I'm gonna go ahead and roll with that. Barbie, 2023, directed by Greta Gerwig. Yes, I did Barbenheimer, and so I did these back to back. Even though I did, uh, I did a whole review on Barbie as well. I will link that below as well if you want to check that out. And uh, I can't say I would recommend Barbie to everyone because it's not. I would recommend Barbie. First of all, you gotta have a good sense of humor, and second, it's geared towards people in like their late 20s, early 30s. So this is not for everyone because I know some older people who've seen this that didn't like it, and some younger people who've seen it that didn't like it. I myself absolutely adored the film. I had my issues with it, which I discussed in my review. If you want to know what that is, it's linked down below. But this movie is awesome, bro. It's so funny. Shout out to Ryan Gosling. You are my guy. I'm gonna go ahead and give Barbie what I gave it in my review, and it's a shocking 8.7 out of 10. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, 2023, directed by James Gunn. Now, this movie shocked me. This is one of the biggest shockers of the month, and I think it's just because I'm on hero fatigue times a million, man. I am over hero films, and this is coming from a guy who used to watch all of them, be at the movies day of. Yo, I loved them, but like I've just been so sick of them lately. And I gotta say, this movie was good, man. And James Gunn is so good. He's the guy. The new Suicide Squad, he's just been killing it. And Guardians is his baby, and you can tell. And he handled this movie with such care. Everyone bought in. It was a fun last ride with the Guardians crew. It's gonna hit your emotions. I'm gonna warn you right now. There's some stuff in this movie. You're gonna cry. You're gonna cry. All right. I will if you're a Guardians fan, I'll recommend this movie to anyone. But obviously, there's a lot of stuff you need to watch before this. Obviously, the first two movies, plus you need to have seen both Avengers, or not both Avengers, but Infinity War and Endgame. You need to have seen those as well. I'm gonna give Guardians 3. I'm gonna give it an 8.2. Man, I had a good time. Out of 10. The Rescuers, 1977, directed by a whole bunch of dudes. The Rescuers, man, it's a classic Disney kids movie. I have fun with it. I've seen it back in the day. It's been a long time, but it's a story about these mice trying to save this girl from this lady and her alligators. It's fun. If you're a kids fan, I'll recommend it. I will give The Rescuers a 6.8 out of 10. D2, The Mighty Ducks, 1994, directed by Sam Wiseman. Now, I talked about Mighty Ducks earlier, so I did watch Mighty Ducks 2. I think this was a lot better. It was just more fun. It just flowed a little more. I don't know. I had more fun with this one. But then again, I was in a really good mood when I watched it. So, I wasn't as critical as I probably was of the first one. So, I don't know. It's the Mighty Ducks 2. It's not the best movie, but it was fun. It was fun. And Keenan's in this one, Keenan Thompson, so he was a fun addition. I will give the Mighty Ducks D2 a 6 out of 10. Ocean's 12, 2004, directed by Steven Soderbergh. Now, Ocean's 11, one of my favorite heist movies, and Ocean's 12 is also good. Now, it ain't Ocean's 11, okay? It's not as good, but I did enjoy it, and it's a fun time. It's funny. Love Brad Pitt in here. He's kind of the star of this show. And, you got Catherine Zeta-Jones in here. She was a nice addition. It's a good time. It's a good time. But it's not as good as Ocean's 11. But if you're a fan of heist movies, Oceans, definitely watch it. I'm going to give Ocean's 12 a 7.3 out of 10. Last but absolutely not least, Blind Chance, 1987, directed by Krzysztof Kieslowski. One of my favorite directors of all time, coming out of Poland, always with the bangers. Blind Chance is no different. An incredible film. This movie is about a guy it's 3 separate scenarios, and it's about him trying to catch this train. And in each scenario, something different happens at the very start with the train. And all 3 of these scenarios shape his life. and there's pluses and minuses to each of them. But it's very, very interesting to see how the smallest of event can change your entire life. One little thing that we never something that this movie just shows you that something that probably happened in your life that changed your life and you just don't even realize it. And this movie is just very, very cleverly written, very cleverly directed. And I mean, if you're into just films with cool concepts, absolutely check this out. It's Christoph, man. I praise this guy all the time. He may not be for everyone, but he's absolutely for me. So I'm gonna give Blind Chance an 8.4 out of 10. Guys, I know it was a lot of films this month, but thank you so much for checking out everything I watched in July. If there's a film you want me to review, just drop it in the comments. Let me know what you watched in July, what your favorites were. Guys, I'm gonna plug my Letterboxd. If you're in the Letterboxd and you guys like checking stuff out, I've been making some lists on there. I've been trying to review everything I've been watching on there, or at least give it a rating. My Letterboxd is Ralph Vader. Okay, Ralph Vader is my Letterboxd. If you guys are interested, let me know. And I can, link it down below if you guys are interested. I won't bog you down with it if you're not interested, though. Guys, do me a huge favor, like and subscribe if you made it through this, man. It really helps me out. I appreciate it. Also, doing a podcast with my buddy. It's called The Cutting Room Floor. Also, check that out. I will link our first episode to that in the description below. Guys, thank you so much again. I'll be back next week. And don't forget the popcorn.